Alright guys, Kremp again today. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Sound equalization drama continues here in Black Ops 6, and it seems Pred immediately throwing his teammate under the bus for this one. Apparently Kenny was hearing everything and anything on the map, but can you really blame him the way the game is presently designed? Ninja, we know that a nerf is supposedly coming in, at least to the footstep audio, as in a buff to the Ninja perk, but is it going to make that much difference when the sound is still this much of a problem here in Call of Duty? Many pros don't like it, many pros want to change. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, cover the scrim results just to look at here from Hicksy team. Of course, they are the SGP roster, and they played Rocker, Miami, Gentlemates. The Rocker scrim went as follows. Pretty interesting just to see these are the four maps that we have here that Ronnie put on the timeline. But again, most of these maps, well, at least some of them, relatively one-sided. The first map was on the Vault here, 250 to 136. Doesn't want to load for me. 250, 167 the other way. Then a 250, 231, 250, 224 the other way around. So of course that Rocker team of PaulX, Estriel, Nero's joins the roster, and then of course they've got Geo over there as well. Interesting roster just because there's been some controversy over the last few days around Geo, his playstyle, how impactful it really is. This team, of course, has some potential. I mean, we know that Nero and Estriel on paper as an SMG duo should be right there. We did think they were going to get Hook. That was a possibility. Then they went a different direction. Hook, of course, as we know, has been the absolute 8 Reaper over the last few days, and it's been very challenging to stop indeed. So I do wonder with this Rocker team, if they don't start the season well, what happens next, really, because Rocker are now like fully partnered with G2. We know that G2 came in last season, but now G2's branding is in the Rocker logo, right? They've got the bit of red in there that they're going for. It's kind of cool, to be fair. And look, maybe it just fully becomes G2 Esports for next season and potentially beyond, depending on whether the CDL ever get rid of the city-based stuff, which I would like to see, but I know there's some debate on whether that would be a good or not so good of an idea. But we know that Rocker now, it's Looney in charge over there. Brian Saint was in charge as well of that organization over the last couple of years. There was some drama because they often didn't make the best decisions, to be honest. And let's not forget as well, this team was getting slandered because there was a rumored roster, I think, of Estriel and Hook with PaulX and Artetes. That was meant to be a rumored roster for. Looney was catching some heat for that one when it got leaked in on the timeline. And then I'm guessing Looney changed his mind after that and decided, okay, I'm going to keep PaulX, but I'm going to bring somebody else in instead. There were even rumors that Clayster was a consideration for that roster, but they decided not to do that, and therefore, of course, Clay's ended up coaching the Falcons for the upcoming season, if you guys haven't seen that news over the last 48 hours or so. But if Rocker don't work, like if this team fails, what happens next? Because Looney, surely as the GM coach of that roster, has to be on one of his final lives, as it were, on whether this is actually going to work or not. And look, I don't hate what he's done on paper, but it's just, if it doesn't deliver the results, you got to wonder what's next, because Rocker as an organization, given where they're trying to have, year after year, massively underperformed, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon, based on, the strength at the top of this league, and some early scrim results as well. A couple of clips I've got to share for you guys too, from Shotzzy, we saw this one from Dashy, with some interesting movements happening here on the Warzone side. Scump wasn't so happy as well with some of the ways that he was dying in this new Warzone game, and he also was given some thoughts on the state of ranked and when ranked's going to arrive compared to the Warzone stuff. It is funny how Call of Duty works, isn't it? Because every year we complain, oh, why isn't ranked early enough? Why is ranked happening in February or March? Why isn't it happening a few weeks into the game? This year, finally, it seems that ranked play, yes, is coming out far earlier than it usually does. But Scump is making an argument that, okay, maybe the timing of it isn't perfect compared to when it could be with the release of Warzone and some of these other things. But look, at the end of the day, sooner tends to always be better for the state of the game in general. But it's not like the new Warzone has, well, been getting that much credit from many of the players. Shotzzy wasn't so happy about it either. So I think, yeah, thankful maybe Shotzzy, among others, that at least they can actually play something that isn't competitive Warzone when they play competitive Call of Duty. But I wanted to share these couple of clips and also this one from Pred. This is in an episode of the game chat that the OpTic boys did a few days ago now. This was I think before the K-Sun tournament one. Well, they did a couple in the course of a couple of days. And this was the pre-$50,000 K-Sun tournament one when they'd played the 25k tourney. And, well, they were playing against Metals and those guys. And, well, Pred was giving his thoughts on Kenny, hearing absolutely everything on the map.
The worst map ever, I'm telling you, Shot. It's the worst. Like, it's kind of like concerning how bad this map is. What the fuck is he doing on this roof? This guy is literally looking at the fucking view, dude. He's looking at the sunset. He's like, damn, there's actually clouds outside right now. I'm not even trolling, dude. Not even fucking rebirth, whatever the fuck was this insane. This is the worst shit ever. The worst. It's like really concerning how bad this shit is. It's so fucking bad. It's not bad, it's horrendous. It's not bad, chat. It's fucking horrid. That's how bad it is. I don't give a fuck I'm into this shit. Like, for example, right now. Yeah, we're playing multiplayer, bro. Fuck this research. Yo, worst map ever. Perfect. Up there requires research. Perfect. Did we get a new map, Shirley? Fuck me, man. Fucking hate this shit.
I think ranked play releasing this early, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Just because, I don't know, it usually releases and there's like that kind of influx, like there's that hype that comes back to Call of Duty. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. You guys are saying it's good right now, but whenever Season 3 rolls around, are they going to be paying the same attention to ranked play? Because usually ranked play around Season 3, that's when all the cheaters are fucking out. And that's when they stop kind of updating it. You know, that's when they stop really caring about rank play as much. So I just hope they take care of it the whole way through because it's going to be a long season, right? I mean, it drops November 21st and the season said champs is summer. And then we also have EWC even past champs. It's Treyarch. Listen, I'm just putting out some concerns. I hope it's good the whole way through.
I watched AG stream back for a second, bro. There's one round. He was like, yo, don't slide. Ken is sounding.
Just slide Ken's in every corner. I'm like, bro, stop sliding. Like, this guy can't fucking hear you. Did you see Ken doping up back? Ironing and shit. I'm like, dog. In my head, I was like, holy fuck.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure on my screen, I'm like, I think he's back left from me. And I jump out, look back, and he's just running.
That makes you doing better. Ken's sounding the fuck out of you, by the way, so try not to slide.
Definitely on Mack, 100%.
Could have flanked our left. Yep.
Nice, good shit, let's go.
That guy just got absolutely incinerated.
You said you were going to car, I went to go give this.
So we saw Zuma and I think Formal talk about this in some length the other day that they're not a big fan of the footsteps making substantial noise here in competitive Call of Duty, and it seems like that is necessarily here to stay. The big debate has really been on sound equalization. It's a window setting or loudness equalization, what it's technically called. And online, certainly in challenges, you're going to see most players just switching that setting on. It makes, you know, it easier to hear people. Ninja is, for whatever reason, not fully silent. They're going to make it more silent. The problem is that if Ninja was 100% silent, then loudness equalization wouldn't really do anything because if you multiply 0 by 1,000, it's still 0, right? So whereas if you multiply 0.1 by 2, then it doubles, right? Whereas 0 obviously doesn't change whatever you do to the multiplication, which loudness equalization tends to work with especially quiet sound. That's how loudness equalization tends to work, is that the quiet noises, it will boost it up massively. The louder noises, it will kind of dull down. Loudness, you know, equalizing the loudness, I guess, is what it's trying to suggest there, which does help a lot when it comes to hearing footstep audio. So that's the problem that competitive COD has dealt with over the last couple of years. And with Ninja not being fully silent, there's always going to be some degree of competitive advantage to using loudness equalization. Now, on LAN, it's of course banned, or at least disabled. The CDL PCs that are sitting on the stage on LAN, some engineer has got into that PC and he has switched off loudness equalization in the settings so the pros can't even turn it on. So you might argue, well, if the CDL are effectively banning it on LAN, then why is it not banned online as well? Seemingly the reason is that, well, the PCs, the league PCs, are with the players, and you know, they'd have to maybe get them back into the head office to get them dealt with. Of course, there should be other ways around it, in my opinion. You could easily say, okay, after every single series, we're going to do a random check of somebody's PC to see if they're using it or not, and you know, maybe the players can fake that or fugaze it somehow, where they can, you know, turn it on for the series, turn it off after the series, have a hotkey or something, I don't know. But, you know, theoretically, the engineers from the CDL side can access the PCs remotely, you would think, and therefore they could deal with some of these issues. I don't know, but the messaging is kind of confusing here when the CDL, half of them are saying, well, yeah, it's banned, and then the reality is that it's not really banned. But even in this case, you don't necessarily have to be using loudness equalization, sound EQ to take advantage of the audio. If you just crank your mix amp settings up to the right numbers, then as is implied here with Kenny, you can still take advantage of it, right? So whether you're using sound EQ or not, what players you might accuse of it or not, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because you can still hear audio with footsteps, and that is always, I think, going to be something of a problem. So very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. There's a few other things to mention as well. I thought this is kind of interesting though. Slasher has now played 77 career events. He's been around for quite some time, and I guess he is now the oldest player in the league, is he not? After the retirement of Clayster, of course. Attaches somehow nearly there as well, despite the fact that Attach has been around, well, he still feels like a young guy, and he is a young guy, like in the grand scheme of, you know, humanity. Attach is a young guy, but he's been playing since like Ghost, which is over a decade ago now, and he won his world championship back in 2015 in Advanced Warfare. Slasher was playing that year as well, and these are the guys that he's teamed with. It's interesting to think, isn't it, really? Because, you know, Donnie Temp, Hook, for example, he played with those guys on a couple of times back in Advanced Warfare, back in World War II, for example, as well. And then I guess he played with Hook briefly on Los Angeles Thieves, right, during the Black Ops Cold War season as well. But his number one most tenured teammate is Kenny. Played 19 events with Kenny across a couple of teams, mainly, of course, you know, 100 Thieves, Los Angeles Thieves in those couple of stints. He played 18 tournaments with JCap, including the OGLA days, I guess, when they returned for MW19, and then, of course, also back on the Envy days before that. TJ at 15, John at 14, Apathy at 14, what a player, and Neighbor 11, Classic at 9, Aches at 8. So, you know, a great selection of names, and it's always interesting to look at a career of a player like Slasher, because he's been so tenured, been around so long, but, you know, he's played with big names, but he's not played with really, at least for a long time, any of the big names of competitive Call of Duty, which makes sense, because there's only so many big names you can have on the roster, of course, the likes of, you know, Formal or Octane or whatever. So, and look, how's Slasher going to get on this year? Is this going to be his final year of competitive play? I know there's been lots of talk about it, just because the way that the game currently plays doesn't seem to suit a slightly slower paced AR. Can Slasher still find a way to make his team work? I think that they can. Certainly in Search and Destroy, I'd expect that roster, the Ravens team of Slasher, of course, with Vivid, TJ and Gwinn, to be particularly strong. And to be fair, with TJ this year, if Slasher plays with TJ for the whole year and no changes happen to the roster, pretty damn likely that TJ might well become the number one player on this entire list. But very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
I mean, are you surprised this team has performed this well? And a second half of that question would more be like, would you have liked, if you knew this was going to be the roster, would you have liked to stay an extra year and actually work with them yourself?
I would not have stayed because it would have required me moving to Texas with them, which I would not have done.
Okay.
And I mean, dude, like Taco and Scrap are two, like they've both been top 3 players for the past 2 years. And I think Bill and Dan are unbelievable too. So like, I have full faith in this team. I'm not surprised at all that they came out hot. I mean, you could say like, oh, the other teams have more chemistry, but when it's a brand new game, everyone's starting at like square zero. Everyone's starting at the same spot. There's no advantage of team with players for the past few years. Like it's just everyone's learning brand new system, brand new game. So, you know, it's just straight up like raw talent going at it, and I'm not surprised this team comes away on top or comes out on top.